you are a self-described democratic socialist. Do you think that billionaires have a right to exist?
I don't think that we should have billionaires because, frankly, it is so much money in a moment of such inequality. And ultimately, what we need more of is equality across our city and across our state and across our country. And I look forward to work with everyone, including billionaires, to make a city that is fairer for all of them.
Billionaire hedge fund manager Bill Ackman is taking matters into his own hands, pledging to take care of all fundraising if a write-in candidate steps forward to run against Mamdani before November's general election.
You know someone's doing something right when billionaires start panicking. And that's exactly what's happening with Zohran Mamdani, a state assemblyman from Queens who most Americans have never heard of. Yet the richest people in New York are spending real money, running fear campaigns, and throwing their weight around just to get rid of this one man. Why? Because he's not playing their game. Because he's not asking them for money. Because he's not watering down his message. And most importantly, because he's openly fighting for the people they profit off of. Renters, tenants, workers, immigrants, regular folks just trying to breathe in one of the most expensive cities on earth. So if you've been wondering why so much money is being thrown around to take out a politician you've barely seen on mainstream TV, you're not crazy. There's something bigger going on. This isn't just about Zohran. It's about class. It's about control. And it's about keeping the system exactly the way it is. Unaffordable for you, but unbelievably profitable for them.
Look, if you believe it's an urgent priority to defeat this man in this city, which I do, it is not acceptable to have Andrew Cuomo and Curtis Lewa and Eric Adams on the ballot in November. If you want to stop Mamdani, who is the clear frontrunner as the Democratic nominee, it needs to be one person. And you got to put your egos aside. Cuomo has been clearly rejected by voters. He's repellent. He's odious. He should not run. I love Curtis Lewa. I grew up listening to him. He does not have a chance in this city. I am no Eric Adams fan. I never have been. But by comparison, yes, please, I think it has to be him. And they all need to get together and figure it out, or Mamdani will win.
President Trump says that he is going to straighten out New York City if Zohran Mamdani is elected mayor come November. He didn't say specifically what this means, but he said he would use federal power to step in and basically take control of New York if this happens. He called him a communist. He said if a communist gets elected to run New York, it can never be the same, but we have tremendous power at the White House to run places where we have to. He did talk about withholding federal funding. He's talked about that in the past. And how he does have the power to do that. Something a lot of political analysts are watching now is, are these comments from the right? I mean, look, they're talking about Zohran Mamdani at a meeting with the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He's coming up on the national and international stage. Is all this going to help him or hurt him come November? Is it going to mobilize supporters of, say, Mayor Adams or Curtis Lewa or potentially former Governor Andrew Cuomo? Or is it going to do the opposite and motivate more people to vote for Mamdani?
Let's get clear about what Zohran's fighting for, because it's not some vague idea of change. It's concrete, it's specific, and it's threatening to the people who run New York like a corporation. Zohran is one of the few elected officials openly calling for universal rent control. That means no more landlords jacking up your rent just because they feel like it, and no more evictions just because someone wealthier wants your apartment. He also wants to tax the ultra-rich to fund public housing, not luxury condos. And he's pushing to fully fund the MTA, so working-class people aren't paying more to ride trains that barely run on time, while real estate developers use transit upgrades to inflate their property values. He's for free CUNY tuition, because education shouldn't be a luxury item. He's fighting to cut NYPD's bloated budget and reinvest in housing, mental health, and community care. Every single one of these policies puts people first. Every single one of them touches the money pipelines the wealthy use to get richer. So when billionaires pour cash into primary challengers and anti-Mamdani ads, it's not because they disagree on policy. It's because he threatens their business model. Real estate developers don't want rent control. Hedge fund-backed landlords don't want tenant protections. Private universities don't want free education. The luxury class depends on your struggle, and Zohran is threatening the whole setup. That's why they've come out swinging, using media smear pieces, pumping dark money into his district, and backing corporate Democrats to unseat him. They don't care about democracy, they care about control. And they're trying to kill off a movement before it grows into something they can't stop.
If you don't live in New York City, you do not understand the amount of attack ads that are playing on TV relentlessly, attacking Zohran Mamdani.
LA's in chaos. Imagine it's Times Square. Trump's coming for New York. Who do you think can stop him? Zohran Mamdani's a 33-year-old dangerously inexperienced legislator who's passed just 3 bills with a staff you can fit inside a New York elevator.
This is just an indication of how successful his campaign has been and how truly terrified the billionaire class of New York City is of Zohran potentially becoming the next mayor. Because what's going to happen? He's going to raise the taxes of the 1% of New York, the New Yorkers who make over $1 million. And that tax is going to fund some of the programs that we so desperately need in this city.
Wealthy New Yorkers are not threatening to leave New York because Mamdani won and they're afraid of socialism. Wealthy New Yorkers are threatening to leave New York because Mamdani won and they are scared shitless that you're going to realize how fucking awesome socialism is. Because wealthy people in America have socialism and have had it for years. The rest of us, the poor, we are the only ones struggling through rugged individualism.
If I'm a politician, what do I want? I want votes. It's the Sunday before the election. This isn't a big crowd. How many people were there?
I would guess that there had to be less than 200 people.
How many people are at this mega church?
5,000 capacity. They have a
5,000 capacity.
Seating capacity. Yeah. And the congregation is 32,000.
Mamdani decides to go to a place with, you saying maybe 200 people. I think a lot of people would say, I'm going to go to the mega church. That is the correct political decision, to where the most people will hear your message.
I think Mamdani's just been running a different campaign from the beginning. The person who introduced Cuomo to stage is this ex-banker who was the former president of like the biggest church council in New York that oversees 1.5 million churchgoers. But the people who are introducing Zohran Mamdani on stage at the Gurdwara, these are kids of taxi drivers. These are kids that grew up in New York and like know that this guy who went on hunger strike for our parents and their friends were able to benefit very directly from the fight that he put up. When Mamdani spoke, you could feel that it was very intentional, like who he was talking to, even if it was a much smaller audience. And I agree with you. It seems, you know, like a really risky play to not be going to where you would get the maximum reach. I think the strategy is very much this word of mouth, this I've showed up, I am there. Zohran is able to, in this space, talk about something that he did for the people that are sitting right in front of him.
This isn't just a New York story. It's a warning shot for every working class person in America. If billionaires can bully out a grassroots leader like Zohran in a progressive city like New York, they'll do it anywhere. And they will not stop. They know the numbers. Most Americans want affordable housing, public education, and health care that doesn't bankrupt them. Most Americans are tired of working 60 hours a week just to break even. But instead of meeting people's needs, billionaires are using their wealth to crush the very people trying to deliver them. Zohran isn't perfect, and he doesn't pretend to be. But he shows up, he organizes, he's real. And most importantly, he listens to people who never get listened to. So if you're watching this and thinking, why would rich people care about one politician in Queens? It's because he's not one. He's a symbol, a spark, a challenge to a rigged system. And if they can kill that spark before it catches fire, they win. But if Zohran wins, even just by surviving this coordinated attack, it sends a message. The people are waking up. They're done begging. And they're ready to fight for a city that works for all of us, not just the ones with money.